On the loss and damage, of course, that was the first decision when we came for COP28. That the decision was passed. We know they've established a loss and damage fund, and the global community has pledged 650 million US dollars at this COP on the first day when the fund was adopted. Now, of course, this is a good milestone in a very big challenge. For that fund to become operational, the capitalization of it needs about 200 billion US dollars. So 650, it's a good milestone, but it's significantly less than what is needed. And we do hope that there will be um, quick capitalization of the fund so that it goes operational. Now, there are other issues relating to the fund that we think, as African Union Development Agency or partners, we need to engage with to save one. Of course, I spoke about the capitalization. This fund needs to the resources need to be put in there. These are pledges, and these are voluntary contributions. So, how to make this sustainable is a question that needs to still be reflected on. The second aspect is just the methodology of what will qualify to benefit from that loss and damage fund that has been established. We already know that African countries are suffering a lot. We have just seen in recent years the floods, the droughts, all of these have a significant impact on the life of real people, the farmers, but also ordinary communities whose properties are flooded. Those are economic issues that you can see, but there are other effects of climate change like culture that you really cannot easily monetize. But because of climate change, communities migrate, and then they lose, what was part of their fabric as a community. How do you account for that? So these are, for now, the current thinking is the loss and damage fund will support and compensate for the impacts that are happening now. But there's the question of the historical loss, which this conversation has been going on like the last 30 years, where Africans and small island states and others have been asking for compensation. Africa and small island states are the least contributions to climate change, but they are the most impacted. And this historical impact of climate change is not something that this loss and damage fund is addressing. And we really think that that issue must still be put back on the table to see how communities can be compensated for that loss. So going forward, AUDA-NEPAD will be engaging as part of this reflection on the methodology of how to identify the activities that should fall under the purview of compensation within the fund, and also the question on the governance of the fund itself. Who should be represented, who can benefit, can local communities, can NGOs access the funds, or will it just be for member states to do? So we will be, as part of our work again in the next 2024, to review other mechanisms that have been established before, like the GEF and the Green Climate Fund, and see how who are the beneficiaries. For instance, we know the Global Environmental Facility, communities or an NGO, civil society can benefit from them. So maybe draw some lessons from existing fund to see how this loss and damage fund can be made inclusive, so that not only governments can benefit, but also communities represented by civil society can benefit from these funds, the use of these funds.